All right, who's here for Kayla Connor? All right, Brenda, you're ready?
In the case with two files, there's.
Court is calling 2022 CR 0841C, State of Texas versus Kayla Connor. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Michael Villarreal.
for the defense? Right. And Ms. Connor, you need to come forward. Are you Kayla Connor? All right, you entered a plea on June 1st. According to the plea bargain agreement, the state is recommending deferred adjudication. Who was the person who took this plea? Okay. All right. For the record, the court has reviewed the stipulations and the court is finding there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, the court is will not find you guilty as you apply for deferred adjudication. How did she enter her plea? Was it guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
I believe there was no contest. Yeah.
All right. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, sir.
Defense?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Any objections to the PSI report?
Not for the state. No, no objection.
All right. Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, she's trying to get back on feet, and I think she's doing that well. She got kind of mixed up with this group of people here, and she's now with her boyfriend and her boyfriend's family, and they have two children together, and she's expecting again in December. So we're hoping that the court follows the recommendation now.
All right. So is there anything you wish to say, Ms. Connor? All right, you're going to have to speak up.
No, ma'am.
All right, can I have you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. So where is Alexander White, your child?
That is not my child. That was my ex-boyfriend's son. He was taken by the state back last year sometime, so I'm not aware. I haven't had any contact with him.
How many children do you have?
I have 3 of my own and 4, including this one.
Okay, and where were your children during this beating of a child with your ex-boyfriend?
They were in the
It seems
room
like
with
it
me.
might be a good case for deferred, because this is first.
It happened and he had his own, him and I worked together when this happened in the apartment. We hadn't started dating yet. And I was in the room dealing with my children and he was doing his own thing with his child.
So did you start dating after this?
Yeah.
Why would you start dating someone?
I wasn't aware
No,
that he was.
listen to my question. Why would you start dating someone who's abusive to their child?
Because I wasn't aware of the extent. He was telling me one thing, that it was just a simple spanking. I was not aware of how he was actually handling his child. I had just met him at the time of this happening.
I'm sorry, what?
I had just met him at the time of this happening.
Mhm.
We hadn't even known each other. I don't even think a month.
So you hadn't known each other a month when this happened.
He was my uncle's brother, so I figured he would be somebody I'd be able to trust, considering my adoptive uncle. I've known him for a while. I didn't think anything harmful of the situation.
Just very, very briefly.
Yes.
There are 3 co-defendants here, and one is Brandon White, one is Alexander White, and the other is Kayla White. So there's another Kayla. This is Kayla Connor. The others are charged with injury to a child, and Ms. Connor is charged with violation. So I
Okay.
just want to make sure, because I got kind of confused.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But I will tell you what it never ceases to amaze me. And I never understand why people who have children get involved so easily with other people. I never understood that. Now, what she's telling me is she knew him for a month and this had happened. And how old was the complainant?
At that time, it was
Somewhere 11, somewhere around
10, 11.
there.
The fact that you don't know what's going on with somebody that you're dating or you dated after the fact tells me that you're not thinking with a straight head. Are you employed?
No,
And how many children do you have?
I'm 3.
All right. So you have 3 children, a baby on the way, and you're not employed. That's a problem. Because what ends up happening, and I've seen it, is you depend on somebody else for financial support. People are just having children all over the place and they're not financially supporting them. And they're going from one boyfriend to the next boyfriend. And I tell people all the time, there are maybe some great guys out there. There may be some great women out there. And I love children, but children are baggage. You need to consider every child you have a suitcase, and it's a heavy suitcase. And you got to ask yourself, the person I'm getting with, do they really want to carry these suitcases with me? And it's not like at the airport where you can put them in a cart. It's you dragging a suitcase, and it's the old fashioned suitcase. It's not the type with the wheels. It's somebody picking those suitcases up and handling them with care. And usually what ends up happening is, and you know this, counsel, because you've done CPS cases, you end up with some random guy who you think is this great guy. Y'all decide to have another child. The child that's biologically his, he treats great. The other children get the shaft. So I hope that you're not going from boyfriend to boyfriend and putting all these random people in your children's life. But you need to get a job, because who's supporting you?
The man I'm with right now.
Yeah. And so now you're dependent on him to support you, to support your children, to keep a roof over your head. And I hope you're not letting him be in charge of disciplining children that are not his biological children.
They are his biological children. I got that from their father.
So you're just moving from person to person. You're with this other boyfriend and now you're with him?
No, we ended up getting back together.
If you're drug tested, what are the results going to be?
I should come clean.
I'm sorry,
I
what?
said I should be clean. I haven't been smoking or anything.
When's the last time you smoked?
A month and a half ago, 2 months ago,
And how far along are you?
4 months.
So you're smoking while you're pregnant.
I didn't know I was pregnant at the time, ma'am.
You don't know you're pregnant in 2 months?
No, I still had my period and everything. I was not aware.
Okay. Probation, I apologize. But you know, there are going to be field visits. So they've agreed to your application for deferred adjudication. I mean, if I could make it so you not have a boyfriend in your life, I would, but I can't do that. I'm hoping that you're protecting your children. I'm hoping that people will learn that they need to be financially responsible for their children, because when they're not, the people who are financially responsible are the taxpayers. I love children. I don't have any children, but I can't tell you the number of children I've paid for a babysitter through taxes. I paid for their daycare through the taxes. But people need to start taking care of their children financially, and people need to start making great decisions for their children, because guess what? None of your children can take care of themselves. You can't send them to Travis Park and say good luck to you, and you keep bringing these random people in. So this is what the court is going to do. The court will follow your agreement, sentence you to 5 years deferred adjudication. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. You pled as a co-defendant to Brandon White, Christopher White, and Kayla White. There's to be no contact with Brandon White, Christopher White, Kayla White. There's a $1,500 fine, time and money to run concurrent. How old are your other children?
My oldest is 3, and my boys are 1.5 years.
So you're doing stair steppers, as my grandmother would say, like you're going down the steps. 3, 2, 1, baby. So where are your children now?
At home,
Who's watching them?
their father.
What does he do for a living?
He's an HVAC technician.
What does that mean?
He works on AC units.
What are his hours?
They range.
All right, good luck to you. We can go off the record. Here's the thing. I do believe, I hope I'm right in believing that you love your children. If you love your children, you know, you've got to be their number one protector and look out for them. And you can't have random people looking out for them. Now, I don't know what happened between you and the relationship and the father of your children that caused you all to break up. But what I do know, if that hasn't been addressed, guess what? you're back in a relationship with the same problems you had before. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you. So, Ms. Connor, do you know why you're here? Yes, so what are you not doing that you're supposed to do? I'm sorry, you need to speak up.
I know not to speak. I'm set up right now with the parent.
No, let me just tell you the report I've received. One, there's an issue with your testing positive for marijuana. You can unfurl your arm. So why are you testing positive for marijuana? No, I mean, you are, it's not a matter of you shouldn't be, you are testing positive for marijuana. So I'm trying to figure out why you're testing positive for marijuana. Are you pregnant? All right, so obviously you keep rubbing your stomach. You want me to know you're pregnant. So I've taken note of the fact that you're pregnant. So my question is, why are you using marijuana when you're pregnant? No, you're still doing things. I mean, this is what ends up happening in court all the time. People want sympathy from me and mercy from me because they want to come in and let me know they're pregnant by rubbing on their stomachs and all of this. And then they're not doing things to protect their child by using marijuana and by not taking a UA when the court tells you to take a UA. So those are issues. Now, when you do a UA today, because you are doing one, everyone needs to lower your voice. When you do a UA today, because you are going to do one, what are the results going to be? All right, you're going to do a UA today. And the other issue I have, which I don't understand, the field team visited your home or where you were living. There were 3 small children in the home, ages 3, 2, and boyfriend's older child from previous relationship was in the home at the time. So why are there so many children in this home?
Son was visiting and the 3 toddlers are mine.
So you have 3 toddlers. How long have you known this boyfriend?
Their father.
Okay. And how is your Child Protective Services case going?
Fine.
Have you been in contact with your worker? Where are you currently living? No, that's not my question. My question is, where are you currently living? So you're not in, are you in Bexar County? Did I give you permission to leave Bexar County? No, my question is, did the court give you permission to leave Bexar County? That's either yes or no. Your contract is not with probation. Your contract is with the court. So I didn't give you permission to leave Bexar County. And the fact that you have so many children living in your house, obviously someone has to do something to protect the children who are living in your house. And the way that is accomplished is by me requiring probation to do field visits. And you are actually on probation for injury to a child by omission. And the facts of that case are the same thing that's happening in this household right now. You got children who are living there, parents who are using marijuana, whether they think it's legal or not, and constantly bringing more children into a situation when you don't have stable housing. I don't understand why people do that. You know, you don't have stable housing. You have a 3-year-old, 2-year-old pregnant, and then your boyfriend has another child who's coming to visit. People keep having children and bringing them into unstable situations. It amazes me that somebody would make the conscious decision to have a child, and now you're living in an Airbnb, don't have a place to stay, you're on deferred adjudication, using marijuana, moving to locations without getting the court's permission. Did you give your CPS work? Did you tell your CPS worker you're going to be moving? All right, Ms. Loper, are you the CPS worker in this case? You're muted.
Yes, I am.
Are you the CPS worker in this case?
Yes, I am.
Your volume's not on.
Okay. Yes, I am.
All right. Are you aware of Miss Connor moving to another location, not in Bexar County?
I knew that her boyfriend got a job in Austin but they were supposed to let me know so that I could transfer the case to a worker in Austin.
So that's either, did you know she had left or did you not know?
I did not know.
All right. And then let me just tell you the report I got from October 5th, what you're bringing your children to. Field team made contact with the defendant, and the following information was noted. Upon entry, the sofa was blocking the front door to prevent the children from walking out, which means that children are not being supervised if you have to put a sofa to block the front door. In the living room, there was a mattress and scattered mess all over. Her daughter was watching TV in the living room. In the front room were her two boys behind a closed door playing on a foam mattress. There was no furniture and the room was a mess. The boys walked out once the door was open. In the back room, there was furniture and personal belongings scattered around the room. In the guest restroom, there was also a scattered mess all over. Defendant was advised CSO would be visiting frequently as ordered by the court. Defendant is aware her residence needs to be organized and clean. Defendant stated she is aware the residence is a mess and has not had time to clean, but will. Defendant stated she is not employed at the moment and currently pregnant. So why do you have your children living in a unclean home?
I had told them the one who couldn't from her dad. So things were a little messy on top of his son coming over and visiting and stuff. And when they came the next time, everything was clean. They even said something about how they had seen an improvement on the mess. So.
All right, I want a UA today. Do you need any water? That's either, if you need some water, we'll make sure you have water. Do you need any water? All right, so I'm gonna want a UA today and we're gonna do it in court today. And then we're gonna come back after I get my result. If you want to, we're gonna see what the result on this UA is, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Ms. Connor? All right, according to probation, you're positive for marijuana. I'm not allowing you to transfer to Austin, so whatever job your husband has, you need to be here in Bexar County. If you want to be allowed to live in Austin, then you need to do better on your probation. And better on your probation is not having a house that, from the reports I'm getting, is messy with couches blocking doors and you testing positive for marijuana and being pregnant. And so that means that either you are using marijuana outside your house, in which case the children are being unsupervised, and that would explain the couch blocking the front door, which is a fire hazard. If there's a fire in the house, how do you expect firemen to get in the house when you're blocking it with couches? And if your husband or boyfriend or the father of your children doesn't want to step up and help you if you have medical issues, then maybe you shouldn't be in a relationship with him. But you are setting a horrible example for your child. And I don't know about this other mother who lives, who knows where, allowing her 9-year-old to come and stay with you, who is on probation for injury to a child by omission. People need to stop letting their children just stay with random people that they don't know and they don't know how they're living. So CBS can do whatever they wish, but I'm telling you right now, your probation is not getting transferred to Austin. You're not allowed to live in Austin. You're going to be living in Bexar County, and this court is going to have to keep an eye on all of these children who are under the age of 3 and the 9-year-old that some parent somewhere seems okay with allowing you to supervise. So probation, she's not to be in Bexar County.
Yes, Your Honor.
And if you live in Bexar County and you leave this county to go when I didn't give you permission to, a motion to revoke is going to be filed. And I'm going to want her tested for levels.
In addition, can we set a maybe a clean date or?
Well, if her levels are increasing, file a motion to revoke. So if your levels increase, a motion to revoke is going to be filed. And let me just tell you something. People think marijuana is okay, but let me ask you this. Is it okay for your 3-year-old to smoke marijuana? Do you have any problem with that?
course.
All right. So the child that you are carrying, that you keep rubbing your stomach and you want me to know you're pregnant, guess what? When you're smoking marijuana, you're letting an unborn child smoke marijuana. Just imagine that child in your stomach, kicked back on a couch, smoking marijuana, because that's what you're doing. Do you understand? I'm not going to tolerate that, because use of marijuana is not allowed on probation out of this court. And if your levels rise, we're not going to have a compliance hearing. We're not going to have a conversation. I'm going to get notice that your levels have gone up and a motion to revoke is going to be filed. And wherever you may be, at your home or in the grocery store at HEB or wherever it is, a warrant's going to be issued. And if police see you there, they're going to arrest you because you're pregnant. They will handcuff you in the front, which they're supposed to do. And you will be taken to the Bexar County Jail. And while you're at the Bexar County Jail, you will either make bond or you will not make bond. If you don't make bond, you will be brought over to sit in the box as you see other people, and we will have a hearing on what to do. And what to do may end up you going to prison for up to 10 years. Do you understand? And so do you still want to pretend to me like you have not been smoking marijuana?
I'm doing anything, Your Honor.
Okay, she's still pretending. So I want UA randomly once a week throughout the week. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, can I see Kayla Connor? All right, so there appears to be an issue involving a transfer,
Yes.
and we're not on the record yet. So the CPS caseworker hasn't zoomed in. I don't know why I should allow her to transfer, because what we were here last time, and I don't know what CPS was doing or what was going on, but last time we were here, CPS maybe knew she was moving, maybe didn't know she was moving, but I knew she moved without this court's permission. And then what ended up happening is she came to court and she tested positive for marijuana. And CPS thinks she's doing well. I don't know how you can be doing well when you're using drugs and have children in your care.
I agree, Your Honor. If I could speak to that.
Yes.
She did test positive, but she also purchased something from the store that she thought might be legal, not illegal. And that's basically what caused the positive, the latest positive. But she understands, and I told her there's no alcohol, no drugs of any kind on any kind of probation. And she understands that. I think she can accomplish that. She has 4 toddlers, and her husband works in Travis County. He has a good job. He works at Tesla, and that's the reason she wants to move to Travis County. And I did file a motion on her behalf on that. And I think that if she were allowed to move and closely monitored, I think she could get everything straight and get her life kind of straightened out. And she seems to be floundering a little bit right now, but I think that would straighten out a lot of things.
I understand your argument, counselor. I'm not going to allow her to move anywhere until Child Protective Services comes in and speaks to me, because Child Protective Services didn't know what was going on in her life. I don't know if they were not doing UAs or what was going on their end. But what I have is a person with toddlers using drugs. And the case that she's on probation for is injury to a child by omission. So I don't know if CPS is doing their job or not.
Your Honor, I did receive an email from a CPS worker from Travis County. Right now she's in limbo. She does have a assigned as worker in Travis County. However, they won't really do anything until she's actually transferred, and she can't be transferred until the court does so. The CPS worker in Travis County has all of the terms and conditions of what she's supposed to do on probation. However, and she cannot be here with us. The Travis County CPS worker has COVID, so she couldn't even zoom in. The CPS worker here in San Antonio, I didn't receive a response from. So they are fully aware of what she's supposed to be doing. I don't think the Travis County has had opportunity to work with her yet because she's not officially there.
All right. Well, what I do remember from last time, and Deputy Laura will tell you, my mind is a steel trap. she had already moved to Travis County without permission. And there was CPS didn't know what was going on. So I'm not allowing you to move until the CPS worker from Travis County appears by Zoom or either appears in person. And I never thought on the criminal side, I would be doing family law here and on the criminal side. But so you're not going to be allowed to transfer until the caseworker from Travis County Zooms in here. And also the caseworker from San Antonio Zooms in here, because the last time the caseworker from San Antonio Zoomed in, they had no idea that you were in Travis County. And I don't know if there's some miscommunication with their paperwork or not, but they had no idea. So obviously somebody's dropped the ball somewhere, because supposedly you may or may not have a caseworker in Travis County. But I do know if that caseworker in Travis County has COVID and can't appear by Zoom, she can't supervise her.
Yes, Your Honor. So the only concern that we would have at this time is that she is currently living in Travis County.
Without the court's permission.
Yes, Your Honor. So you can't do the field visits that is mandated currently.
So here's the thing. Last time she was here in November, when she tested positive for marijuana, I said that she was to remain in Bexar County
I was already in Travis County.
without the court's
I
permission.
wasn't aware I needed the court's permission. My PO did not allow me or tell me.
No, I set your conditions.
I talked to her and had asked and confirmed, and I was not aware, ma'am.
Well, you were not aware you were supposed to be not using marijuana either, but you still did it. Here's the thing. You need to be in Bexar County. If you're not in Bexar County by Friday, what's going to end up happening is a motion to revoke is going to be filed. I set your conditions, and there's a reason why I put the conditions that I put in there, because I have to protect the community. I have to protect your 4 toddlers. And what are their ages?
3, 2, and I just had an emergency C-section 3 weeks ago.
And using marijuana. And so I have to think about all of that when I'm setting your conditions. And you went to Travis County and moved there without the court's permission. So you need to be back in Bexar County by Friday. Otherwise, a motion to revoke is going to be issued. Do you understand?
Your Honor, if we can get the Travis, if we can get a hearing before Friday, would that work?
Yes. And have that caseworker zoom in and have the San Antonio caseworker zoom in, because the San Antonio caseworker, the last time we were here, said she had no clue you had moved to Travis, which the court assumes that somebody wrote some letter somewhere, because otherwise you wouldn't have had the Travis County caseworker. But if you have that done before Friday, then the court will make a ruling. All right. If you all want to confer and see when all of these parties can get here, they can appear by Zoom. All right, thank you. All right, we're going to go on the record. Court is calling 2022 CR 0841C, State of Texas versus Kayla Connor. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Michael Henry out the stage.
For the defense?
David Blair here.
And are you Kayla Connor? All right, so everyone please whisper, and I'm going to need everyone to speak up so I can hear, because my allergies are acting up a little bit today. So the reason we are here, it's a compliance, and I guess it's a request from your client to live somewhere other than Bexar County. And I asked that certain people be present today, and I've requested that the CPS workers be present, and my understanding probation is present. So would anyone like to call a witness with regards to her living somewhere other than San Antonio? Or am I going to call witnesses?
I'll defer to them.
All right. We'll call, yes.
I apologize. Just so that you're aware, the one that's the CPS worker on Zoom is in Travis County. The one here in court is from Bexar County.
All right. So who needs to leave first? Because I know that I received a message.
San Antonio.
All right. Could the San Antonio caseworker please come forward? Hello.
Hello.
All right. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand if you can state your name for the record.
Amy Loper.
All right, and what is your relationship to Kayla Connor?
I was the family-based worker for her until about October, beginning of October.
All right. And can you tell the court whether or not you were aware while you were the family-based worker that Ms. Connor left Bexar County and left San Antonio to live elsewhere?
So she did not tell me when she actually left. I did know that her paramour had a job opportunity in Austin, and just asked them to let me know where they go so I could get a worker in that area that could work with them.
All right, so she didn't request permission to leave?
I was aware. Yes, I was aware. that
No,
the
my
plan
question
was
is,
to-
did she request permission to leave?
No, but we don't require that.
Okay. Were you aware that she was using marijuana?
I was when her probation officer contacted me.
All right, so you were aware after this court asked her if she was going to be positive for drugs. That's the only time you were aware?
The beginning of October is when I heard from her probation officer. So I visited with her the first week of October to discuss that.
And while you had her in the family-based services program, how often were you in contact with her?
Typically once or twice a month.
All right. And have you had any contact? And I know CPS workers calls them paramours, but I'm assuming that's her boyfriend slash fiance. Have you had any contact with him?
Phone contact only since October, but yes, I was visiting him as well.
All right. Did you do any research into his background?
We did have we do criminal background checks and background checks.
All right. And did you do that?
That was done during the investigation.
Cartels.
And were there any issues with regards to his background?
Not that I can recall. But
Did you ever visit the place where she was moving?
I have not. The worker in Travis County.
All right. Was that place reviewed before she moved there?
No.
Were you aware that she had to get permission from this court to leave Bexar County?
I was.
And did you make her aware of that?
I asked her if she had asked permission, and she said she was waiting to hear back.
Mhm. Any other questions for this witness?
So you, may I?
Yes.
So, Ms. Loper? is that
Yes.
correct? You have had contact with Kayla since October or?
Only by phone.
By phone, and you discussed with.
Okay, just one second. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ask you guys to step back on my right. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask you guys to step back because we're on the record.
And you mostly discussed what, her living arrangements?
Yes, just trying to figure out what worker needed to be in contact with her.
Did you see anything that might have led you to believe that she shouldn't move or that could move, or did you have any opinion on that?
No, because he was looking for work for months prior, and so the fact that he could provide for a family.
But he did find a job.
Yes,
And what kind of job? Do you
At
know what
Tesla.
kind of- Tesla?
Mhm.
In what city?
in Austin.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
When, I just trying to figure out dates wise, when did she get assigned a new worker? What caseworker in Austin?
That would have been after I spoke with Ms. Abrams, and she let me know that she had moved. I filed the transfer paperwork right away, and I want to say she went out probably 2 or 3 days later. So second week of November.
Okay, so as of that time, that's when she would not have been on your caseload anymore? Okay. And prior to that, had you tested positive for marijuana?
She did not for me. The first time I heard of it was the probation officer beginning of October.
Okay. And how often was she being tested?
She was tested. I don't have it on me. I'm sorry. It's random. So it's not a specified amount of time, but I know she was scheduled to finish her outpatient treatment the end of September. So then we would have tested her after she completed. But then by then I had heard from.
Were you aware that she was pregnant?
Yes.
So knowing that doesn't change CPS's requirements about testing her or anything like that?
No.
No? Okay.
Mm-mm.
I'll pass those.
Yeah, just
Yes.
very briefly. So you made visits before COVID, and you saw the children and everything, and did they seem to be adequately taken care of?
Yes.
So you had no problems.
Yes, yes, they did.
So you really didn't have any issues with that?
No, I did not.
That's what.
How many times had you tested her during the family-based services?
I don't have it in front of me. I want to say 2 times,
2 times.
2 months.
All right. And how many months did you have her?
I want to say in April and May.
Okay.
But we typically don't test until they're well into services because we wouldn't expect anything to have changed if she hasn't gotten any service.
So how many months did you have her in family-based services?
3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months. In that 3 or 4 months, you may have tested her approximately twice. All right. And with family-based services, as part of that, you're expecting the person who's in the services to be honest with you.
Yes.
All right. So did Ms. Connor ever come to you and tell you that she had used?
Did not.
All right. Any other questions?
None at this time, Your Honor.
All right. Is this witness excused?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. All right. CPS caseworker Perez.
Your Honor, Flor Perez Chavez, yes.
Thank you. All right. Does anybody have any question to these 2 witnesses appearing by Zoom? Ms. Perez is actually in the location where Ms. Connor is looking to move.
Your Honor,
Just one moment, please. Any objections?
No objection.
None to say.
All right. Ms. Perez, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes.
All right. You can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Flor Perez Chavez, FBSS caseworker in Travis County.
All right. Either party want to question this witness?
I can't go. Is it Ms. Chavez or Ms. Perez Chavez?
Perez Chavez, correct.
Ms. Perez Chavez, when was Ms. Connor placed onto your caseload?
I received the courtesy request on November 8th, and I made a call to Ms. Connor asking her home address, and I made the visit on November 9th.
Okay, so you actually visited the home on November 9th?
Yes, she was in Riverside that time in Travis County, yes.
Okay. And has she remained on your caseload since then?
She has remained on my caseload. However, I did receive an email shortly after my visit that she was ordered to return and that I was basically that I was not going to need to see her again.
Okay, so when you received that email that she was ordered to remain in Bear County, did you have that conversation with her as well that she needed to return to Bear County?
No, I received an email from her primary caseworker, just to my supervisor, and let me know that I no longer needed to go visit her.
Okay, so are you aware of anybody who had conversations with Ms. Connor about the need from
No.
CPS that she needed to return to San Antonio?
I was not aware that of any of that.
As far as CPS is concerned, is it important for your investigation and your supervision that she be in compliance with any court orders, especially as it relates to criminal cases?
Yes,
Okay. And so if she was in Austin, would it be fair to say that she was not in compliance with the court's orders?
yes, I'm assuming, yes.
Okay. When she was on your caseload, did you ever test her for like urine analysis for any type of drug use?
I took with me an oral swab drug test. I offered it. Ms. Connor stated that she was drug testing with probation and to refer to probation.
Okay, so at that point, she didn't want to test using the oral swab.
No, I took it with me.
Okay. Is that concerning for CPS when somebody refuses to submit to any type of drug testing?
Yes, it can be concerning, yes.
Was it concerning in this case?
Yes, I believe I called her the following day addressing drug use, and she stated that she had used some legal vape pen that they sell at gas stations, and then she didn't know that that was gonna cause her to pop dirty.
Okay. At that point, did you know that she was pregnant?
Yes.
Okay. So besides the one attempt to drug test her, and the one field visit to her location, which I believe you stated was on Riverside, did you have any other in-person contact with Ms. Connor?
I did. I got an email at the beginning of December from Miss Amy Lauper, the other caseworker, stating that Miss Connor had not returned and that I needed to go see her again. By this time, I realized she was now in another county, in Hayes County, which is now Buda. I still went over there from Travis County to go visit them to make sure that, you know, they were there.
Okay. And so at that point, were you successful in making contact with her in Buda?
Yes.
Okay. And did you discuss with her ever that essentially, why are you still living not in Bear County when the court has ordered you to be in Bear County?
Yeah, she continued to say that she was working with her probation officer and she was communicating. She made it appear that she was in compliance.
Okay. So at that point, she told you that she was aware that she was supposed to be in Bear County, but that she was working with her probation officer. Am I
Correct.
understanding that correctly? Did you talk with her probation officer specifically about those issues?
I did not. I did. I called the caseworker.
Okay. Other than after this last time you made contact with her in Buda, did you ever have any other in-person contact with her?
I did. I saw her on yesterday. Yesterday, I went over to her place again. And she agreed to a parenting course and she agreed to an oral swab test.
Okay. And did you do the oral swab test?
Yes.
And what was the results?
They were sent out to the lab yesterday.
Okay. When do you expect you might have results on those?
Within 7 days.
Okay. And was she still residing in Buda at that point?
Yes.
At the same location you visited her before?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever, I'm assuming you haven't seen her today, right?
No.
In person. Did you have any other phone contact with Ms. Connor?
A few other calls during this December. My other contacts were regarding another investigation case that was going on. That they were calling me and things like that, but yeah, that's about it.
Okay. What were the nature of the phone calls about?
See if she was still there. I think just making visits.
Okay. You said that she was, I guess, subject to another investigation with CPS?
Correct.
What is the status of that case?
I am not aware of the status of that case yet.
Okay. What was the nature of why she is, I guess, subject to another investigation with CPS?
From my understanding, another intake came in shortly after I made my first visit in December regarding Ms. Connor and sexual abuse allegations from another county in Corpus.
Okay. And so do you know if that case is still pending and still under investigation with CPS?
I'm not sure what the case's status as of now.
Okay. Are you aware that she gave birth to a child on December 12th?
Yes, I visited exactly shortly after she was released from the hospital to go see the baby.
Okay. And did you make contact with her at the hospital?
No, I did not.
Was she at the hospital then?
From my understanding, investigations was making contact with her at the hospital.
Okay. Were you aware that her child was born positive to THC, with THC?
Yes, that is also part of the another intake that came in.
Okay. So there's 2 additional intakes that have come in since she's been placed on probation. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that would be fair to say.
That's time I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Defense?
Sure, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me? Okay,
Yeah, just speak up a little bit.
okay. Did you have any contact with the paramour when you were supervising? Ms.
Yes, yeah, and actually on my visits, Mr. Treadwell was there.
Okay. And did they give you any indication on their relationship? They were definitely a couple. They're living together and all that?
Yes, he seemed very supportive. There with the children, the father of the kids, holding them. He again spoke in her defense, saying that, you know, she was going to test through probation. She was following probation and she was complying there. So he had no concerns regarding her caring for the children.
Were you aware of his employment status at that time?
When I first met him, he told me that they wanted the case to remain in San Antonio because of there were services that they were doing that Ms. Connor was doing there, but he had to move because of his job. He got a job at Tesla at the Gigafactory, and that is the reason why they ended up moving.
And now the contact that you had with Ms. Connor and the children, how were they? Did they seem adequately taken care of?
Yes, they were running around. Yes, they're very playful. I never saw any bruises or marks on them or them crying or anything like that.
I'll pass away this.
Any further questions?
Just one further question, Judge. And are you aware that Ms. Connor is on probation for injury to a child?
Yes, I became aware of that when we had a staffing.
That's not the exact charge. The exact charge is by omission.
All right, it's injury to a child by omission. Are you aware of that?
No, not the full details, no.
I have no further questions.
Any other questions?
No, yeah.
All right, so did you verify her boyfriend's paramour / fiance's employment?
I have not, Your Honor.
And they were in Travis, then they moved to Buda. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
And where are they staying? Are they staying in a place that they're leasing?
From my understanding, it's a month-to-month lease.
Okay. And does CPS think that is appropriate for children to be in a place for a month-to-month lease?
I was told that they are waiting to get the case transferred and approved before they would sign a full lease.
So since she's had these children, how many moves have they made?
From Austin to Buda too.
All right. And with regards to these sexual abuse allegations, I know you can't go into them in great detail, but who is the alleged victim of the sexual abuse? Is it a child?
Correct, Your Honor.
And is there an allegation of who the perpetrator is?
Correct, yes.
And who would that perpetrator allegedly be? Is it someone that she knows?
Yes.
Is it someone that she alleged to have lived with?
Yes.
Do you not find it concerning to have her in a place that they only have been in or are living in from month to month? There are allegations of a child testing positive for marijuana at birth, an allegation of sex abuse against one of the children. Do you find that concerning?
When the intake came in, investigations was working on placing a safety plan. We were following, I was in the process of following with the safety plan, asking them if we can get someone to supervise. We have been trying with investigations, but there has not been one in place yet.
All right. Thank you. Are there any more questions for this witness?
Nothing to say.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Is she excused?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Pettis, you can be excused or either you can remain on to see what the court's ruling is going to be with regards to whether or not Ms. Connor can transfer. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Would anyone like to call probation?
Judge, just say we'll call probation.
All right, could you unmute yourself, please? Would you raise your right hand for me? Do you
Yes.
solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, dear honor.
All right, if you could state your name for the record.
My name is Sylvia Cirola.
All right, does anyone have any objection to this witness testifying by Zoom? Defense?
No objection.
State?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Rolla, are you Ms. Connor's current I'm not sorry, pre-trial supervision, community supervision officer?
Yes, that is correct, sir.
And how long has she been on your caseload?
She has been on my caseload since she was granted, which was August 25th of 2022, sir.
Okay. So you're aware that the court ordered her to remain in Bear County, correct?
That is correct.
And I want to talk about how many times you had that conversation with Ms. Connor. Do you know how many times you've told her that she needed to remain in Bear County?
Yes, sir. I told her when I went over her conditions initially in September at our first visit. So I went over all her conditions. I explained everything that she needed to do. She said that she was aware of and understood exactly what she needed to do while on probation. And then also I told her about maybe 3 weeks before, or about 3 to 4 weeks before she moved out of the county, she came to an office visit and she stated that she might be moving. And she told me that her boyfriend was possibly going to get a job. He had gone to an interview, possibly going to get a job in Austin with Tesla, and they would have to move. At that point, I advised her of her conditions. I advised her she is not allowed to move unless the judge gave her permission. So I explained how the judge would give her permission. I said, I got to submit a document. We address the facts, and it would be up to the judge to allow you to move. You cannot just leave the county. And she said, well, I'm going to be homeless. And I said, well, Miss Connor, a lot of people commute from Bear County to Travis County every day on a daily basis. They work there, but they live here. So if your boyfriend gets a job there, that would be what would need to happen. So because you need to stay here. And she said, no, because he's not going to be able to pay 2 different rents. So she said, he can't pay rent for me here and pay rent in Austin. And I said, well, then in that case, he would have to commute. I said, because you are not allowed to leave the county. You have field visits 3 times a month, and you are not allowed to move without the judge's permission. She didn't tell me that she moved. I found out on my own that she moved because I had called the CPS worker, and I notified the CPS worker that she had moved. We found out that she had moved after she had been there already like 3 weeks, I believe.
And you know approximately when that was?
I would have to look at my notes, sir, in her file. But she was already living there when she went to her first compliance hearing with the judge.
Okay.
And on that day, I told her, you need to come back, the last office visit we had. Right. And so I told her, you can address that with the judge.
Does November 14th of 2022 sound correct when she had her last court date, when she also tested positive for marijuana in court?
Yes, that is correct. That's the last day that she tested positive. Yes, sir.
So you spoke with her on November 14th of 2022, letting her know that she needed to be in Bear County.
Yeah, she's known that she needed to be in Bear County. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so You've also spoke to her, is it fair to say, on November 15th of 2022, the next day, when you called to inquire about her plans to move back to San Antonio?
Yes, that is correct, sir. I have been in contact with her and I had been asking her, what are your plans? Have you been looking for a place to stay? And she stated that she has not, because her boyfriend rented an Airbnb for a month and she couldn't come back. And I told her, yes, but you were in court that morning and the judge told you you needed to come back to Bexar County. Her boyfriend, according to some of the emails that she sent me, her boyfriend rented that Airbnb, one of those apartments, in the afternoon at 3-something in the afternoon, but she had been in court that morning.
Okay. So from what I understand, she sent you some emails that documented on November 14th, November 16th, and November 16th that she had rented rooms to stay in, which would have been after her compliance hearing in court on November 14th of 2022.
That is correct, sir. Yes.
Okay. At that point, did you give her a deadline, essentially, of when she needed to be back residing in San Antonio or in Bexar County?
Yes, sir. I advised her. She's like, oh, what I didn't know. The judge didn't say, but she stated this to me right after court. She said, the judge didn't tell me how long I had to come back. She goes, she didn't give me a deadline. And so I told her, well, you need to get back as soon as you can. So I told her, well, you know what? You have until the end of the month. Oh, I can't do that. So I said, okay, well, you have until December. I think I gave her the first Friday of December. I think it was either December the 2nd or December the 3rd, one of those. It's in my notes. And I told her, you need to be back in the county by then.
Okay. So after that, did she, from my understanding, she came to a in-person office visit with you on the 28th of November. And at that point, she was still residing in Austin, correct?
That is correct, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And I
then-
also, I'm sorry, sir.
Go ahead.
No, and on that day, I also addressed to her because I know that she was, testing positive and I know that she was still using and she still was pregnant. And I went over and discussed, did she understand what THC, those vape pens, the Delta 8s do to an unborn child? And I read exactly to her what the FDA states happens to a unborn child with a parent who is consuming the Delta 8s. And she said, well, I have anxiety and I can't deal with everything.
Okay. So at that point, is it your understanding that she was still not going to be testing clean for marijuana or THC?
Yes, that is correct, sir, because she said that she had smoked some Delta 8s. Yes.
And then I'm seeing on, she was tested for levels for a sample that was submitted on November 28th, and that came back positive for THC.
That is correct, sir. And I also asked her to confirm one of the urine samples to see if it was the Delta 8s or the THCs. And according to the lab, it was confirmed THC.
Okay. And then are you aware of when she gave birth on December 12th of 2022?
Yes, sir. She had an appointment with me, but she wasn't able to make that appointment. She was en route when she went into labor and gave birth to her child. Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you aware of where that child was born?
That child was born in Bexar County, sir.
Okay. Would it surprise you to know that the other, the CPS worker just testified, she said she went to the hospital in Austin, and that's where the child was born?
She sent me documentation. I asked her where she was at. She said, I'm in Bexar County. And she sent me a discharge order. Let me pull that up in my notes. And it says North Central Baptist Hospital. And it says 520 Madison Oak Drive, San Antonio, Texas.
Okay. So that the documentation that she sent you shows that she actually gave birth to the child in Bear County.
Yes.
Okay. As of today, which is January 12th of 2023, where is it that, to your understanding, that Ms. Connor is residing?
My understanding is that she is still living in Buda, Texas.
Okay. And has she sent you any documentation to show her efforts to move back to Bear County to be in compliance with this court?
No, sir.
Has she ever stated why she is unable or unwilling to move back to Bear County per this court's order?
She just states that she can't find a place.
You've been a community supervision officer for how long?
19 years, sir.
Okay. So it's probably fair to say that you've helped or have seen plenty of people on probation move within Bear County.
Yes, that is correct, sir.
Is this an unusual case, or I should say, is it your understanding that it's really that hard to find a place in Bear County to live?
No, sir. I have people that move from other counties because it's easier to be in this county to report. So they just rather move from Comal or Guadalupe and just move into Bear. So this is a big city and it's not that hard to find somewhere to live.
At this point, Judge, I'll pass the witness.
Thank you. No. Yes, ma'am. Could you kind of go over the procedure again to move out of county? You were talking about some form that you fill out. How does that work?
I'm sorry, sir. What was the question again? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
He wants to know what is the form that's needed to move to another county?
And the procedure generally when someone wants to move.
Okay, well, the procedure is that they tell us, they give us proof of where they want to live, why they want to move, who are they going to be living with, and they give us all the details. And then we notify the judge and we ask the judge, these are the circumstances. Will you allow this person to transfer to X county or X state or whatever the issue is? We submit that to the judge and it's the judge's decision to allow a transfer or not.
In this form, is I guess is a directive. Is that correct?
Once the judge gives us permission, then we go ahead and we send the person we make an appointment with the out-of-county officers, and they are to stay here into the out-of-county, they see an out-of-county officer. That officer then gives them a temporary travel pass until they are accepted to be supervised in the county that they're moving into.
And this form was never filled out or never submitted to the judge or anything?
No, this form was not submitted because she did not give me any of the information. She just moved without my permission. Well, without the judge's permission. I never notified the judge because she never gave me an address, a specific date that she wanted to move there. The boyfriend, his job was still pending. She's like, I don't know if he's going to get hired or not, but it seems like he will. So it wasn't a for sure thing when I talked to her. Between that visit and the next time I saw her, she had already moved.
And you said you saw her, but she had already moved. Where did you see her? In your office?
No, when she came, yes, sir. So she came to her office visit. She told me that, and she had already, by the time I saw her the following month, she had already moved.
And you didn't talk anymore about the boyfriend's job or an address, or you didn't ask her for addresses or anything like that?
She said she was living in a hotel. At first, when they moved, they were living in hotels, different hotels. So they were jumping around from hotel to, from one place to another. And then I notified the judge. The judge set a compliance hearing. And then after the compliance hearing, she went back to Austin, and I think she was staying at one little place for a short time until her husband got that Airbnb for a month.
That's witness.
Any other questions?
Nothing further from the state.
All right. Is this witness excused?
From the state's perspective, yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in. You can remain on if you want to hear the court's ruling.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right. Any other witnesses?
Nothing further from the state.
Any other witnesses?
Just argument.
All right. So let me tell you both what I'm going to do. I used to do a lot of work with CPS, so I realize CPS workers are overworked, but I realize in this case, there has not been adequate supervision of her with children. This is a criminal court. It's not a CPS court, but part of my job, at least part of the way I see my job, is if someone's before me on probation and they have minor children, I have to protect society and look out for society. In this case, it's minor children. So the person I have before me has not followed the court's rule. We were here on November 14th, and I specifically said she's to remain in Bexar County. She doesn't have stable housing. She and her boyfriend / paramour / fiance / father of her children are moving from place to place with these children. The CPS worker is not doing adequate supervision, or either they're coming in and doing spot checks, and their spot checks is, oh, children are running around. They seem okay. They don't have any bruises. Then I'm being told now that there's some new allegation that a child may have been sexually abused. And the last time we were here, I think she has children that are under the age of 5. She has a newborn who's testing positive for marijuana. And she was here in this court and tested positive for marijuana. And the CPS case workers didn't even know she was using marijuana. That's not good. And she's not following my rules. This is what I am going to do. You are living in Bexar County. Do you understand? You will be in Bexar County by January 20th. If you're not here, a motion to revoke will be filed against you. And you're looking up spending a possibility of 10 years in prison. You will be in Bexar County. You're going to be supervised by this probation officer. There are going to be regular UAs. I'm going to want those field visits for 3 times per month. And please tell them to check on the children. You are not to have any males living in your home. That includes your paramour, boyfriend / fiance, whoever he may be. I'm shocked that the CPS caseworkers came in here saying that he works for Tesla, but nobody has any proof of that. It appears to me that they didn't make him do a service plan. In my experience, when you have children that are involved, any boyfriend / paramour / fiance, they're supposed to be doing the service plan as well. They're supposed to be drug tested as well. You're jumping from hotel to hotel, from house to Airbnb. You're going to be in Bexar County. And if you're not in Bexar County, motion to revoke is going to be filed. You're going to be here by January 20th. And if your fiance / boyfriend / paramour loves you, he will rent a Airbnb here, or he will rent you a hotel here, but you will be here. And you are lucky that I am not putting down a no unsupervised contact with children. But since Child Protective Services is involved and they're supposed to be doing their job, you're going to let them know where you're staying. You're going to call that caseworker in Travis County and tell her, I am back in Bexar County. And you're going to call that Bexar County family-based service worker. You're going to tell her, I'm back in Bexar County. I don't know why they haven't given you a legal case. You should have a legal case because your baby was born positive for drugs. Maybe they're understaffed. So people need to start paying more money so there can be more caseworkers. But your children are not being taken care of well by you. And you're not looking out for them. You're just living your best life and you're disregarding the rules that I've set. If you are not in Bexar County by January 20th at 9 a.m. living here, a motion to revoke will be filed. And when that motion to revoke is filed, what's going to end up happening is a warrant will be issued for your arrest. The police will pick you up wherever they may find you. If you're at an Airbnb in Austin, in Travis County, in Buda, wherever, with just you and your children, the police are going to come there. They're going to pick you up and they're going to call CPS to come pick up your children. And your children are going to be taken into care of CPS, and you're going to go to the Bexar County Jail. Either you will make bond or you will not. And then we will hear the allegations of you not being where I told you to be. And you're going to be looking at potentially 10 years in prison. Do you understand? And when are you supposed to be back in Bexar County?
20.
What time? All right. Is there anything else from either side?
Nothing further from the state. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. And I'm going to want a UA today. When you're tested today, what are the results going to be? Because you are getting a UA today. All right. We're going to do a UA today. Thank you for coming in. And probation, you're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Oh, here's this. All right, court is calling 2022 CR 0841C State versus Kayla Connor. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Ashley Jones for the state.
for the defense?
Roberto and Ambrosina.
And are you Kayla Connor?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision and state's motion to supplement pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke probation with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Are you the same Kayla? Is it Jeanne? Janine Connor, who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2022 CR 0841C for the offense of injury to a child with intentional bodily injury on August 25th, 2022 for a period of 5 years. Is that you?
Yes.
All right, state.
Your Honor, the state is alleging from the state's motion to supplement, pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt, that the defendant violated condition number 4 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Kayla Jeanne Connor, did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December of 2023, and January, February, March, April, May, June, all the way through December of 2024 in violation of condition number 4.
Right, to that allegation, how do you plead? True or not true?
True.
And state with the regards to the other allegation?
The state will waive the other allegation.
No
Any
objection.
objection? All right. Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine?
Yes.
Knowing that, you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4? Court will find violation of condition number 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
There is not a proposed agreement. The state will argue for our recommendation and I plead.
All right. State, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, given that the defendant has not reported for over a year and a half now, and given her history and not only the facts of the case, that state is going to ask for 2 years in the Texas Department of Corrections.
All right. In defense, what are you requesting?
Judge, I'm requesting that the court impose some type of jail sanction, revoke her deferred adjudication, adjudicate her, and put her on straight probation. Or possibly, I saw there was a recommendation from probation that their recommendation was to extend and assign her to safety. I think her only positives were for THC. I don't know that that would be a good fit. I think maybe SATIF might be a better fit under the circumstances. And I did have a witness.
All right. You may call your witness.
Carmen Rodriguez.
Ms. Connor.
Oh, come forward. Thank you. Hello. All right. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. State your name for the record.
Carmen Dolores Rodriguez Mills.
All right.
And good morning, Ms. Rodriguez. How long have you known Kayla Connor?
I believe first time I met her was around 2014, right before my husband got orders to station at Scott.
Okay, and she's essentially friends with your daughter, correct?
Correct, that's how I met her.
Okay, and so you've known Kayla for a while. What type of family life did she have as long as you've known her?
It wasn't easy. When I met her, she was living with her grandmother because she had her parents weren't really in the picture. And when we left and came back, we started talking to her again last year. And that's when we find out that everything that had happened, and she was not in a good relationship and she was trying to get away from that person. So her and my daughter had gotten contact again. But it wasn't a good example.
So she has had a hard life as such. And with respect to the probation, I guess you were recently made aware that she had a warrant for essentially not reporting to probation.
Yes, I probably around, I want to say around New Year's, she let it be known. And at that time, I was trying to talk to her, and I don't know what the process would be. So I was trying to convince her to, if we could hire a lawyer to explain what needed to be done.
And so once you were made aware of her situation, you advised her to deal with the warrant, turn herself in at some point.
Whatever I don't know if she would have had to go to the probation or who.
Okay. And do you feel like you've been a positive influence in her life to this point?
I feel yes.
Okay. And has she essentially spent a lot of time at your house over the last few months?
Yes.
Okay. Has she lived there or just
Sometimes my husband and I joke that she lives there. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And if the judge were to continue her on probation in some form or fashion, would you allow her to live with you, at least in the short term, while she gets back on her feet?
Yes. As long as she abides by the rules.
Okay. And based on what you've seen, do you think that'll be a problem?
No, I don't think so. I just think she needs the guidance.
Okay. Do you think there's good in Kayla?
Yeah.
Do you think the judge should give Kayla another chance?
Yeah. I know she's screwed up, but
Do you think that maybe Kayla lacks some structure and support that maybe she didn't get growing up, and maybe you could provide that for her? Help
yes.
provide that for her to some extent?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass this.
All right, any questions?
I can just put in, what's your daughter's name?
Michelle
Michelle, last name.
Rodriguez.
And, how long did you say you've known Kayla?
I think it was around 2014 because we left in 2015. And then, so I knew her then because I had to get permission for my daughter to go over there and let her talk to the parents before.
So 2014 to 2015, you knew her before you left?
Yeah, before we left. And then when we came back, I would say it was last year that she started coming back.
When did you come?
Well, I came back, my dad had cancer, so we came back in 2018. But my daughter was in Clovis.
Okay, so from 2015 to last year, you really haven't had any interaction with Kayla?
Personally, no. Just my daughter saying, oh, I talked to her. Or, yeah.
Those are the only questions.
Any further
No,
questions?
Your Honor.
I have a couple if no one has any objections.
No objection.
So you mentioned that she was in a bad relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that the relationship she was in while she was on probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did she ever discuss with you that Child Protective Services was in her life?
Child Protective Service. Well, she told me about the case and that she had certain requirements she was supposed to be making.
All right. And did she tell you her requirements with Child Protective Services?
I didn't ask specifics.
All right.
I was just kind of trying to get her to get back on track with the probation.
Thank you so much for coming down. I appreciate your coming down.
Thank you.
All right, any other witnesses?
Just briefly call my client.
All right. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Kayla Connor.
All right, you may proceed.
Good morning, Caleb. You heard the testimony of Carmen Rodriguez. If the judge were to continue you on probation, are you in agreement to reside with Carmen in the next few months while you would get on your feet?
Yes.
You heard mention of a bad domestic violence involved relationship that you had been in previously. Has that ended?
Yes.
Okay, when did that end?
About May of last year.
So May of 2024.
Yes.
So that was kind of during this period of time that you had a warrant of
Yes.
arrest, essentially. Why should the judge give you another chance on probation?
I'm in a better place than I was when all of this happened. I understand that I messed up. I did not go about it the right way, but I'm out of that relationship and that situation that I was in. And I know now that I have the support team that I do have, I am capable and more confident in myself now that I can get this done.
And why didn't you deal with the warrant earlier?
Honestly, I was scared. I've never been in trouble before.
So
So
the first criminal case you've ever
Yes.
had?
So I really had no idea how it was gonna go. And due to being a mother of 4 kids, I just didn't want to do time away from them. That's really all it is.
Okay, and essentially, I wasn't on that case previously, but based on what you told me, you were given a period of time that you needed to provide residence in Bear County. And you told me that you did get residence in Bear County, but you were late in providing notice, and that's when the warrant went.
Yes,
And so that went out quite some time ago, but after that, you didn't deal with it because you had the warrant and you were scared.
yes.
If the judge were to continue you, who's to say the same thing wouldn't happen?
Like I said, I'm confident that I'm not gonna slip up. I'm out of the situation that I was in, and that was a very big factor as to why things went the way that they did. And now I'm working on myself and my future for myself and for my kids.
And you have minor children, correct?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
4.
4, and what are their ages?
5. My twin boys are 4, and my youngest is 2.
Okay, and where are they with?
They live with their father.
Okay, and does he have like primary custody essentially?
There's nothing really in place. It was just a verbal agreement due to the fact that I had the warrant. I thought it would be best that they lived with him until I was able to get it figured out.
Okay, and so you voluntarily did that
Yes.
on your own? Okay, is there anything else you want the judge to know why she should consider continuing you on probation?
All I have to say is that if you give me another opportunity, I won't make you regret it.
All right, any questions, state?
Ms. Connor, what is the father of your children's name?
Nicholas Treadwell?
You understand that you were given a gift by being placed on probation in the first place for this case.
Yes.
And then you understand that you messed up that probation by not doing the things you were supposed to do.
Yes.
And then the judge gave you an opportunity to come back and continue to do what you were supposed to do. You didn't. And then you didn't report for over a year and a half. Is that correct? That's right.
I have some questions if there are no objections.
No objection.
All right. So this relationship that you were in, that the previous witness says was not a good relationship, was that the relationship with the boyfriend who was supposedly working at Toyota? Or was this some new person? Or, oh, you say Tesla?
Yeah, it's Tesla.
All right, so that was him?
Yes.
All right. So do you recall being here for a compliance hearing? And at that compliance hearing, there were 2 CPS caseworkers. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And do you recall that nobody knew where you were living because you would move from place to place? Did you recall that? Do you recall that?
Honestly, no, I was in touch with my probation officer. with
Now, I
the
want you to listen to my question. Do you recall the compliance hearing where the issue was you were moving from place to place and taking your children with you? Do you recall that?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Do you recall coming in where the caseworkers, one was by Zoom? Well, actually, both of them were by Zoom. And do you recall coming in and one of the complaints was that you were testing positive for marijuana? Do you recall that?
Yeah.
And do you recall that your CPS caseworkers had no idea that you were testing positive for marijuana in this court? Do you recall that?
Yes.
And do you recall my ruling saying that you were to leave the home with that boyfriend? Do you recall that?
No, Your Honor, I don't.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions.
Any questions, Your Honor?
All right. Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And I've heard both your arguments and what you're requesting. This is what the court is going to do. The court is finding violation of condition number 4 true. Court is going to find you guilty. The court is going to grant the motion. The court is going to sentence you to 5 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. Did you review the trial court certification of defendants' rights to appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? Did you understand that and sign it?
Yes.
You have a limited right to appeal. That right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you are in deferred adjudication. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're also not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Good luck to you.
Let's get the facts straight. She loves a verbal ashtray. Never blowing smoke when she gets pissed. She's quick to castrate. Love her on a good day. Love her on a bad day. Either way, she's here to stay, stay, stay. Call up holy, 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 holy.